My husband is currently on a trip to Vegas and casually revealed that he's sharing a hotel room with another woman, brushing off my concerns as irrational jealousy. Now I'm lying awake each night, sleepless and overwhelmed with anxiety, questioning our trust, our marriage, and what boundaries even mean to him anymore. My 42-year-old husband is currently in Las Vegas, attending a national bowling tournament. He's there with his mother and her friends, fellow members of their bowling league. He's a very dedicated bowler, participating in a Tuesday night league and frequently competing in state and sometimes even national tournaments. Usually I join him and occasionally I bowl as well. However, this year, we decided I would stay home with our 3 boys aged 4, 8, and 10, due to the intense heat and smoke in Vegas during July. My husband and I have been married for 11 years. This is his second marriage. His first ended after he discovered his wife being unfaithful. I've never once imagined him being intimate with another woman while with me. He's simply not that kind of person. Regarding this trip, typically when he travels without me, which happens at least once a year due to my job and time-off constraints, he shares a hotel room with his mom or our sons. 3 nights ago, I was on FaceTime with him while he was in his hotel room. It was a pleasant chat, and he mentioned needing a nap due to lack of sleep. I asked if he had the room to himself, as that would have been wonderful, and he replied, "Oh no, I'm sharing with someone." I inquired who that was, and he said something I can't recall, just she. I exclaimed, "Wait, what?" He then explained that he was supposed to share the room with his mom's boyfriend, but plans shifted, and now he was sharing with another woman on the trip. He claimed I had played cornhole with her last month at a gathering. I reminded him that I had played cornhole with him and a girl, but not one with the name he was providing. I have no idea who this woman is. At that point, he seemed quite confused and didn't grasp why I was upset or bothered. So I let it go, not wanting to disrupt his time or his bowling. I know I should have asked how he'd feel if our positions were reversed, but I didn't. Partly because I wanted to avoid an argument, as we rarely dispute when the children are awake, and partly because I didn't want him to dismiss my feelings as just my imagination. I've barely slept since that night, and my dreams have been filled with worst-case scenarios, yet I haven't really brought it up again. On a few occasions, he's talked about napping and how unexciting his time in Vegas has been. I've mentioned, somewhat sarcastically, that he'd be having more fun if he were sharing a room with me, or if I were there instead of his current company, but he's dismissed it all. So, here we are. He spent the last 3 nights in a hotel room with a woman who is neither me nor his mother. Am I wrong for being upset? Update 1. Okay, so I took some advice and found my resolve. I texted him a little while ago instead of waiting for his return. He and our boys are departing for another trip tomorrow morning, and I couldn't get the time off work, so I wanted to ensure we had this conversation thoroughly before he left again. Before I share the update, I want to clarify a couple of points. I truly trust my husband. He has never shown any inclination to cheat, and that wasn't my primary concern, despite some unsettling dreams. My issue was his lack of openness and honesty with me. If I had done the same, he would have been understandably furious, which is why I began my initial post with, "He's just not that type." We generally have excellent communication. The challenge here is that I prefer these discussions face-to-face, rather than over the phone. It's simply not something I like to resolve when we're not together. Clearly, in this situation, I should have made an exception, and I have now done so. Now for the update, I texted him today to explain that this situation has been bothering me for the past 3 days. I had questions and we needed to talk. I asked who the woman was, her age, and why he didn't inform me about the situation before I stumbled upon it. There was a room mix-up, something about someone not attending, so people were reallocated. He was paired with a woman close to my age. He said he didn't think it would be a major issue and didn't want to inconvenience others on the trip. He also stated he didn't want to upset me, which is why he didn't explicitly tell me about it. He assured me I had nothing to worry about and made sure they weren't alone in the room, apart from when they were sleeping. I know, but I truly believe him on this. I was frank with him, explaining that if our positions were swapped, out of respect for him, I would have called him immediately to ensure he was comfortable with it. I told him that while I trust him completely, I shouldn't have discovered it the way I did, and he shouldn't have disregarded my concern. I conveyed that the lack of upfront communication felt suspicious, regardless of intent or what actually transpired. Regarding not upsetting me, I told him I would have understood and not been upset if he had simply been honest. He has apologized profusely. I advised him to just communicate next time. He is adamant there will be no next time. So, call me naive if you wish, but I'm letting it go at this point. He'll be home this evening, and I plan to have a nice evening with him before I don't see him again for another 2 weeks. Thank you for the advice. I cried when I learned her age, but getting this off my chest has been incredibly relieving. My husband is coming home tonight and we will talk. I'm hoping it's an 82-year-old grandmother. Update 2. I'm not handling this as well as I anticipated. I had decided to move past it. I'm certain he wasn't involved in anything with this other woman. You can disagree and call me foolish if you like, but I truly believe that. However, despite my efforts, I can't shake the fact that he chose to do something he knew I wouldn't be comfortable with and then failed to tell me about it. It all just feels so wrong. I've spoken with a few coworkers. I don't really have any friends who aren't also his friends that I talk to regularly, and there's no way I'll discuss this with my family because that would open a floodgate I can't handle right now. They're all more agitated for me than I've allowed myself to be. Most of them know him, his character, and what led to the end of his first marriage. He used to work at the same company. We had less than 24 hours together before he, his mother, and all 3 of our children left for their trip to the other side of the United States. I've been wallowing in my feelings and will continue to do so until they return, which is almost another week from now. I was on the phone with them this evening before they went to bed, and one of the first things my husband said was, "I'm sharing a bed with a redhead tonight." I nearly exploded before realizing he was referring to one of our boys. We have 3 sons. After a very long pause, I said, "You better be talking about—" I was so angry, I don't understand how he didn't catch on. Every conversation we've had has been brief and to the point because I'm genuinely not interested in speaking with him. I've been calling my oldest son and talking with my boys instead. His mom hasn't really said much to me, which suggests he's said something to her, which is perfectly fine. I don't really care about that. The bottom line is, I don't know what to do. It's midnight at home. I tried to go to bed 2 hours ago and just couldn't stop sobbing, so I got up and let it all out. It felt good to release it, but I know I need to talk to someone. I have support lines through work I can call, but not tonight. I've had too many drinks and I don't want to bring that into it, but I will call tomorrow. I know I should be upset and angry and not just dismiss it, but I'm afraid that when I talk to a professional, they'll tell me I'm overreacting. I will still call, but I need to clear my head first. He's bicycling for 7 days, over 400 miles. So as much as I want to give him a piece of my mind right now, especially after his completely insensitive and clueless joke this evening, I haven't. I want him home safe and sound, regardless of my feelings in this moment. The most important thing is that my children's father returns home safely so we can resolve this, at least in the same city, and not while he's 1,000 miles away with his mom and my children. Oh, it certainly feels that way right now. Update 3. My family arrived home a day early, so I took 2 extra days off work to see them and sort things out with my husband. After we had unpacked and put everything away, we had dinner and watched a show. After putting the boys to bed, my husband and I went to our room. It was quite clear he thought he was going to get lucky, as he seemed very confused when I turned on the light. I told him I had questions and needed him to answer them. He was hesitant but agreed. I asked him who this woman is, her age, and if she's married. I still don't know who she is, but he did confirm she is younger than me and not married. I then asked who decided he would be sharing a room with her. He said his mom thought it would be a great idea if they shared so she could spend the 3 nights with her boyfriend, not boyfriend. I asked him why he didn't tell me about it. He said he was just so tired and had such a long day, he didn't think about it, conflicting with his earlier statement of not wanting to upset me. He said he didn't think I would ever doubt his intentions, so why would he think he'd have to tell me? I told him it wasn't about questioning his intentions or faithfulness. It's that what they did was completely inappropriate and disrespectful to me and our marriage, and at the absolute very least, he should have sent me a quick text explaining the situation. I also told him that his mom isn't always right. He apologized profusely said he shouldn't have prioritized his mom over me. He didn't think it would be an issue because he would never try to hurt me, and he thought I knew that. All those things, and we honestly talked it out and worked through things for a solid few hours. We reached a really good place and connected for the first time in a long while. Then he went to work the next day, which stung because I didn't really have the flexibility to call in. I'm severely behind at work, but I did anyway because I wanted to do the right thing for us and take care of us. However, because he had just spent 2 weeks traveling the country doing something incredibly enjoyable and was now extremely behind in his job, he couldn't afford to take any more time off. So that really hurt, but I let it go because he truly was behind, and I at least had the boys to catch up with that day. My mom called to see what we were doing for my birthday, which was just days away. I had honestly forgotten about it with everything going on, so I told her I didn't know and asked if my husband had called her. She said he had not, so I told her I would let her know when we came up with a plan. That night I asked him if he had a plan, and he said, "Oh, I don't know, what do you want to do?" And that truly, truly hurt, but I let it go because we've had so much happening. I told him it would be great if we had a barbecue, and he invited people and got the groceries, and he agreed. I specifically asked if he would call my mom. He did. Get some of the groceries, but not all of them. And he did surprise me with a cake, but that was it. I ended up inviting everyone last minute, having to apologize along the way, and had to go to the store twice to get the rest of the things we needed. At the party, he started showing our friends pictures from his trip, pictures I haven't even seen yet. I was so angry, upset, and frustrated. He didn't pick up on it. Then it was time for gifts. His was a card game and a back rub. I felt like I had just been slapped in the face. To be clear, I don't highly value gifts. If you get me something, great. If you don't, that's fine. But he didn't get me anything for Mother's Day. Yet I got him a whole array of things for Father's Day, for his trip, and an Xbox game he wanted. I also planned each of those days by myself, and he just went to the other side of the country, and all he thought to grab for me was a card game. I didn't want to argue in front of our friends, so I left it alone. I didn't really expect more than that anyway, but it still stung. Then I went back to work and things were a mess. Anything he did irritated me. Anything his mom did irritated me. I was getting so frustrated, sad, and angry, just not myself. Then I had a medical issue, something that resurfaces every 5 years, but I had been ignoring because of everything going on. It came back, and I went to urgent care to address it, but I had to take care of all sorts of things first so that my going to the doctor didn't interfere with my husband's day. So I was really irritated in the morning. It didn't help that his mom came over and I just can't deal with her right now. It also didn't help that he told me that morning about all the plans he had come up with for our son's birthday in a few weeks. I was angry at myself for being upset. I should be thrilled my husband is thinking about our son and wanting to give him a great birthday party. But I was so deflated, sad, and angry in that moment. But he had to go to work, so I left it alone. So before I went, I sent him a text, apologizing for being irritated. I told him that I'm not in a good place mentally or physically, and I'm really struggling. He asked how he could help, and I responded that I really didn't know. Then I saw the doctor, and he referred me to surgery. This will be the 3rd time I've had surgery for this. I was so frustrated, sad, and hurt. I decided to just put it all out there, and since he can't seem to find the time to actually talk to me, I texted him a long message outlining everything on my mind. The trip, my birthday, him not taking time, our son's birthday, all of it. After an hour, he hadn't responded, so I sent him another text saying that maybe he could just tell me I'm not crazy and we will get through this together or something like that at least. He responded to that, saying that he loves me and has a lot to say, but can't say it over the phone. So then I went to work and did my tasks. I felt a little better. He didn't dismiss all of my frustration, so things were okay. That night, he called to tell me he loved me and was going to take the next day off to spend with me. It was also my day off. I was pretty darn excited. The next day, I asked him what were the things he wanted to say, and he said he didn't want to say it in front of the kids. So then that night, I asked him again, and he said that we had been having such a great day, he didn't want to ruin it and make me emotional, so he wasn't going to say it. Then I felt like I had just been punched in the gut. So wait, you've been so nice since I texted you, but now I'm going to be sad and upset? What is going on? It is now the next day, and I just asked him again. He completely ignored me and went to town to pick up our son from camp. I am at a loss. I don't know what to do. I can only ask him to talk to me so many times. He doesn't often share his thoughts or emotions, but I would think he would do it now, right? I don't know what to do. Update 4. I apologize for the delayed update. My health took a rather significant turn for the worse for a bit, but no worries, all is well now, and I had a very productive discussion with my doctor about prioritizing myself, and she is connecting me with a counselor. Now for the update, it's barely an update, and for that, I apologize. When I finally got him to articulate what he wanted to say, he ended up saying it in front of the boys anyway. He only brought up 2 points I had mentioned in the extensive message I sent him. The first was that I was going to seek counseling. He expressed his approval of that idea, noting that it had genuinely helped him when he spoke with one. Then he brought up my comment about how much weight I've gained since the birth of our youngest child. He said he still finds me incredibly attractive, which should be clear from the fact that he still appears in bed. Then he started discussing what I shouldn't be doing if I wanted to lose weight and apologizing for the fact that he and the boys have incredibly fast metabolisms and don't have to worry about it. I asked him to stop giving me weight loss advice. That wasn't the purpose of me telling him. I asked if there was anything else he wanted to say, and he said no, just those 2 things. So at this point, this is my current situation. My husband did not cheat on me. I know this to be true. I am still not in a good place due to so many simultaneous events. So I am seeking professional help. Second story. Ex-wife's fabrications. My ex-wife has created a fabricated narrative about a car, accident, dog bites, and my alleged neglect, which I now have to dispute through court-mandated communication platforms. I was married for 13 years and have 2 children, aged 4 and 6. After my divorce, I am now happily remarried to a wonderful woman, Donna. My ex simply won't stop harassing me. I must communicate with her for the sake of the children, but it's so contentious that the court finally ordered all communication to go through an online site, and I had to change my phone number and relocate. It was that severe. I had my children this past weekend. Everything went smoothly, and we visited my family without incident. We had a great time. Then I received this email. Jill and Marvin report that they were in a traffic accident with you this weekend in the truck. They both report that the loud scene exchange between their father and the ABC towing driver scared them. They both report that they were bitten by Greg's dog, Murphy, during their visit at your folks' house this weekend. This is the second time they have both reported biting them. I have also posted their reports that they have been bitten by a large dog named Betsy at your in-laws' house. They have traumatic memories of metal being scraped out of your leg. I hope that you recover quickly and get back to your job. I hope that Donna is okay. They report that you have trouble walking. This is consistent with behavior I observed at drop-off on Sunday night. You didn't get out of your new car, and it appeared very awkward for you to unbuckle their booster seatbelts from the driver's seat. I need to know about these things, please. Dog bites are notoriously dirty and prone to infections. Just because our children didn't appear to be as seriously injured as you were in the truck accident doesn't mean that they couldn't be stiff and sore and possibly have internal injuries for which I need to be observing at least. I need to understand why they were stiff and sore and acting more fearful than usual when they came home. Their mild to moderate bruising and scrapes, and the chunks of skin missing from their hands and fingers, are consistent with their reports of the accident and the dog bites. I will take Jill and Marvin to the pediatrician walk-in clinic to rule out any unseen injuries and infections. It would be beneficial if you would call or email the doctor's office and tell them what you can about the accident and the dog bites. It could help rule out tests and treatments that might not be necessary. It would also be beneficial if you would pay your half of their medical expenses, especially because the accident and the dog bites happened when they were with you. Today is Jill's first day of school. I could have taken them to the doctor 2 days ago if you had shared that they were bitten and in a traffic accident that was bad enough to require a tow truck for the truck and medical care for you. If you want to drive the kids to Santa Barbara and back in a weekend, expose them to animals that aren't safe for children, and argue with tow truck drivers in front of them, I can prevent that. But what happens to their little growing bodies and the events that are being imprinted on their sweet, innocent minds is very much my concern. Please share all of the information regarding what happened to our children in the truck accident. Please share all of the information regarding the bites from the dogs. As a mother, it is very worrisome to hear my preschooler and my first grader recount the dangerous things that are happening to them, but it is even more worrisome that my co-parent withholds vital information about their health. Jill and Marvin deserve to know that their parents are working together to take care of them. Thank you. I don't even know where to begin. The dog present had no teeth, didn't bite them, and couldn't have even if it wanted to. My in-law's dog is deceased. I was never in an accident. There was no tow truck. All of this is completely false. I can't even find a trace of a real event that could have been distorted. This follows her attempt 4 days ago to pressure me into signing away 30% of my custody agreement, refusing to even let me review the paperwork details. I am so overwhelmed by all of this that at times, I consider relinquishing my parental rights just to escape the stress, but I don't want my children to think I don't care for them and that I've abandoned them. How do you reason with this level of irrationality? Any guidance is welcome. I need help managing this. Update 1. I adopted a detached approach and began meticulously documenting everything. I consulted my lawyers, and they recommended several steps, the first being a 7:30 evaluation. This is an assessment conducted by a psychologist. That process extended for a very long time, as the 7:30 evaluator became seriously ill partway through, taking 10 months. Ultimately, the report essentially stated that the mother is unstable and disorganized, and the father's home would offer a more stable environment for the children. However, there was a hopeful note that the mother was beginning to show improvement, so if things remained problematic in 1 year, it would be appropriate to shift primary custody to the father. This was a difficult truth to accept. Things did not improve, and the chaos was merely intermittent, so we continued documenting and doing our part. Eventually, we started receiving numerous emails from teachers indicating that Jill, in particular, was often not bathed, never had her homework completed, lacked school supplies, and was significantly falling behind in her studies. We petitioned for a custody review trial and requested that primary custody be transferred to us. That was at the end of 2019, and the trial was set for May 2020. As you can imagine, once COVID hit, everything was delayed. There were many events in 2020. COVID caused shutdowns. Donna and I had a child, Rebecca, and then my ex began denying visitation to Jill and Marvin. Every 2 weeks, I would go to the house, wait outside, and no children would emerge. Sometimes, I would involve the police, not to force anything, but to obtain documentation in terms of a case number. This continued for 4 months before I was able to resume visitation. Eventually, the trial was scheduled for the summer of 2021 and lasted for 3 days. I had over 500 pages of documentation. Day 1 was entirely testimony from the co-parenting therapist we had been seeing for 5 years. She testified that my ex was the most challenging client she had ever worked with in her career, that my ex never adhered to a single agreement during sessions, and that she was a pathological liar. The final day of testimony was my ex, where she was caught fabricating stories on the stand and was presented with evidence that she had been secretly taking the children to a medical professional for 2 years, something I had explicitly not agreed to. So, starting in August 2021, the judge ordered the children to live with me, granting me primary custody and limiting my ex to 4 days a month. It has now been 3 years. When Jill was in 5th grade, she had a 26% in math and a 40% in English. For the past 3 years, she has maintained a 4.0 every single year and will be starting high school in honors geometry, honors English, and AP biology. Marvin has also been doing well and just completed his first year of middle school with a 4.0 GPA, and he loves his coding and robotics elective. They have new clothes and have acquired new skills and responsibilities. Donna has been vital in establishing routines to aid their academic success. Their rooms are both spotless, and they are the ones keeping them that way with very little guidance from us. They are content and finally engaged in activities and sports. Our little Rebecca adores them both, and I often find all 3 of them snuggled together as one of the older 2 reads a book to her. Jill recently decided to stop going on visits to her mom. The chaos and drama began being directed at her, along with insufficient food, ill-fitting clothing, etc. Marvin is still going for visits, and we are encouraging that as long as he feels secure there. All in all, things are progressing remarkably well, and the children are thriving. There are still challenging moments, but it has all been worthwhile, and we are largely able to shield them from any turmoil their mom may wish to initiate.